Usually, when people think about Black American history dating back to the 1800s, they don't think about the wealthy Black Americans. And there were wealthy Black Americans. Just the other day, I spoke and wrote about a man named Mr. Charles Porter Grove. And today I'm going to talk about another Black American man, a wealthy one, named William E. Matthews. He was a wealthy financial broker and civil rights leader of 1800s. You can read more about him at blackentrepreneur.history.com. I wrote the article myself. Now, William E. Matthews, he was so wealthy that people actually started calling him the Black Jew. Having $100,000 back then was a lot of money. That actually equates to $4 million today. So he was rolling in the dough. He was born in 1849 to a very poor family and ended up later on in his life attending Howard University. He graduated and he studied under John Langston, who was also a Black American, well-to-do man. John Mercer Langston was not only the dean, but he was the co-founder of the law school at Howard University. He also was the first president at Virginia State University and the first Black congressional representative from the state of Virginia. Now let's get back to William E. Matthews, the wealthy financial broker of the 1800s, called the Black Jew. Now, I mentioned that he was born in 1849. It was after the Civil War that he ended up moving to Washington, D.C. This is where he got a job at the post office. Now, at the post office, he was appointed to a clerkship position, okay? And in his position, he would actually start lending money to the people he worked with. He enjoyed lending money so much that he left the post office and became a financial broker. He found lending money to be lucrative. He opened his financial brokerage business in 1882, kicking the post office to the curb. Now, like most African American men back then, when they had a lot of dough, they really put it back into the community. If they didn't do so, their community would never have anything, right? He assisted with the co-founding an organization and transition of people from slavery to freedom by assisting with the development of schools and work for civil rights. He donated to Black public institutions, and he became known as one of the largest donators of his race. Now, William E. Matthews, he was also known as the Ward McAllister of Washington's Colored 400. Now, if you don't know what the Washington's Colored 400 is, it was the Black elite of the 19th and 20th centuries that lived in Washington, D.C. Washington's Colored 400 gained prominence through their wealth, how charitable they were, and their education. They were a distinct social class in the Black community. Yeah, way back in the 1800s. Now, as far as his home, it was pretty much furnished in luxury. No lie. Now, back in the day, it was a really big deal to have your home heated with steam. Okay? And his house also was lit by what? Electricity. That was a really big deal, too. Mr. Williams also had trained servants and a chef whom he paid extremely well. Okay? They were paid extremely well. Now, as far as his chef would provide menus that far surpassed the menus of white millionaires around the area. And top it all off, his dinners were served in courses, and everyone envied his vintage wines. This Black man had some money, y'all. Now, one day he decided to go to Europe, and for his stay in Europe, he came back a changed man. William E. Matthews returns from a European trip filled with indignation at the treatment of his brethren. So Matthews went to Europe, found out that Black folks were treated better over there than they were in the United States of America. And Black folks in the United States of America fought wars, shed blood for this country. He was so irate that he was being way more mistreated in his own country than as a stranger somewhere else. So he came to the conclusion. I concluded that the time is right for a race organization for race unity, protection, and the promotion of all interests pertaining to the dignity or welfare of our people. Yeah, he stated this 10 years before the founding of the NAACP. He made that speech in 1889. However, some years later, in 1894, he passed away. in his home. He had an abscess for 3 weeks that was not healing, and it ended up poisoning his blood. He was buried back home in the city of Baltimore in the state of Maryland. May Mr. William E. Matthews rest in peace. And if you want any more information about the Black millionaires or business owners of our past, visit blackentrepreneur.history.com.